We're moving into our next running back, and that's our RB2, and it's Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne went in the first round right after Najee Harris did, so they went back to back picks. This guy is 5'10", 215 pounds. He's built kind of like Jamal Charles was. Just a very he's like a speed back with some power to him, but not so much power. He's more so gonna make you slip off tackles and make you miss. But he had the ACC, I think, rushing yard leader. He's a rushing yard leader in the ACC all time. So there's that going for him. He played at Clemson all 4 years. He played 13 games, 15 games, 15 games, and 12 games. He had well over 4,000 yards rushing in his career, and they have five. He had his lowest yards per carry in his senior year, but he still improved as a pass catcher, which was huge, going from a 7.5% target share to a 12.2% target share in his last year. And he had only 5.4 yards per carry. I say that as only. He's still at over 5 yards per carry, and that's without Trevor Lawrence some games. So you have to take that into account as well. He had 16 total touchdowns in his final year playing. Najee Harris, I believe, had 30. So look at you look at that. Najee Harris is a really good red zone back, and Travis Etienne, just I don't know if it was Clemson just having Trevor Lawrence, or if it's just because Mac Jones is not the rushing threat that Trevor Lawrence is. But Travis Etienne had 26 touchdowns in his sophomore season. So he can definitely produce at an elite level for his touchdowns. But I like Travis Etienne. This was my RB1 going into the draft. He's now my RB2 based on landing spot. I'm not the biggest fan of Urban Meyer as a coach in the NFL, but I do like it. I like that he's working as a wide receiver too. So what are your thoughts on him working as a wide receiver, Bob? And where do you have Travis Etienne in your rankings?
So I believe I have him as my RB3. I'd have to double check that. But I like the wide receiver work that he's getting. There was that quote that came out, not too long ago about him being, afraid of the ball or whatever when it was coming at him. And I think, that's kind of that roughneck, brute force head coach mentality that I think Urban Meyer has, where it's like, oh, well, you don't like getting thrown at? We're going to throw at you every day. And I think that's kind of a way to try to bust that up and get him more used to catching the ball, even though I think he proved that as his final year, like you mentioned. But just to really make sure, like, dude, you're going to get thrown the ball. It's going to happen. Get used to it. Be a great catcher. Be great. I think he has really good hands. It's just a matter of, maybe that confidence needs to be there a little more. But in terms of landing spot, it sure didn't take long for the NFL draft gods to really break the hearts of fantasy players. Going to a place that already had an established running back in James Robinson, arguably established. That's going to be an interesting situation to see play out. Personally, they right away they came out and said that Etienne is going to be the third down receiving work back or whatever, which didn't really make sense with his college profile, how he played in college and all that stuff. And you don't draft a third down back in the first round if he's only going to play third down. I could still see Robinson getting work, but I feel like that leash is going to be so short. It's an entirely new coaching staff coming in. The previous coaching staff was the one that really loved James Robinson right off the rip and wanted to give him work. So there's little to no allegiance there between coaches and the player. They saw what he did last year on the field, but not seeing that up front and in person, very different story. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Personally, I could see James Robinson getting phased out pretty quickly, especially with Trevor Lawrence and Etienne obviously having a relationship already. So for me, I like Etienne, but I am concerned how much work he gets right away. Again, he's a first-round running back. They usually get thrown to the fire quickly. I have a couple shares here and there, but I'm. What do you think about that situation with him and James Robinson? I know you traded away a James Robinson share today.
Yeah, I like James Robinson a lot. I think he's still going to produce at a high value. To be fair, I told that owner that if he did not trade for him now, he's going to hold him ransom for a second round pick during the season. So it was a little bit of trade tactic there just to get him off my roster so that I can drop some players after the draft. I have a pretty decent roster for value in that team, so I didn't want to drop anyone. But James Robinson, he's going to be the running back, I think, for first and second downs in Jacksonville till their bye week at least. I think if not for the whole season. But Travis Etienne for 2021, I think he's going to be like DeAndre Swift was his rookie year, about like 500 something yards rushing, 300 to 400 yards receiving. He might have more receiving yards because if he's playing wide receiver, then he will. But Travis Etienne is going to be a running back to own for 2022, and I'm saying that now. He's going to be a workhorse. He's going to be an every down back. He's going to be a good pass catcher. He's going to be worked like Le'Veon Bell was at Pittsburgh. I think that he's a very capable runner. Showed it in college. Has really good numbers, and I think that him working as a wide receiver is really going to help his route running, because in college it wasn't great. Had a little bit of sloppy footwork. He can clean that up really quickly in the NFL, especially with positional coaches working with him. And I like it a lot, man. I love Travis Etienne landing in Jacksonville with Trevor Lawrence. I think it's a good landing spot for the future. Not good for James Robinson because Travis Etienne is that talented. But yeah, I'm buying Travis Etienne as soon as his value dips in the season.
Thanks for listening to the Dynasty Rewind. Please make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. And as always, be kind, please rewind.